Hi everybody, welcome to what will be at some point a regular weekend video for you. I've been doing on and off ones at the moment and the weekend, finally getting around to doing some actual proper paranormal stuff today. This video is exclusively about the village of Trottiscliffe or Trottiscliffe, depending on how you say it. I'm a local boy, so for me it's Trottiscliffe, it's just easy to sort of say. We're going to talk about two paranormal stories and we're going to take you along with us, and as always it's not a case of whether you believe it or not, it's a question of just taking in the history and everything else about this amazing tiny little village in Kent. So I'll see you on the other side. Take care for now, bye. Okay everybody, so we're just on the way to Cauldron on Barrow. I'm just about to tell you the story, or our first ghostly story in Trottiscliffe involving Cauldron on Barrow. So let's actually go there and I'll tell you more about it. Okay, so we're here at Cauldron on Barrow. The ghost story pertains that on May the 1st, 2001, a couple were walking around here and they happened to spot two other people dressed in ornate clothing just around the road here, and then they assumed that they were going to meet up with them, but the moment that they assumed they were going to meet up with these two people dressed in this ornate clothing, they just sort of disappeared, so they never actually saw them. And it's strange really to sort of think that Cauldron on Barrow is a megalithic site with all the history, the burial sites, and the only ghost story that really is the strongest ghost story that pertains here is of these cavaliers, because that's the other thing. In the reports there's two stories. One is that they've seen ornate clothing, and then another story is that they saw these people dressed in this fanciful clothing, but it was almost more compared to what cavaliers used to wear in the English Civil War. Historically, it probably could make sense. I mean, the idea was that obviously this has been here for centuries, and the idea is that you can imagine people of every single sort of historical period coming here almost as tourists themselves and checking it out. So for a couple in 2001 to potentially see these people dressed in these cavalier clothing, it kind of makes sense in that historical realm. But if you want to know more information on Cauldron on Barrow, feel free to check out Cauldron on Barrow, a video that I did ages ago about this place. It's one of my favourite places. I've managed to come here on a couple of summer solstices, camped out on this literal spot here, had some amazing times here, and I love it to bits. So even if you don't believe, come down here and check this out. We're in Trottiscliffe, it's amazing. So yeah, the ghost story, two cavaliers or two people dressed in ornate clothing. A couple were going to sort of meet up with them, they thought they would, and they just disappeared. So there you go. Right, on to the next one. Okay, so we're here very specifically looking down into Trottiscliffe village for a very specific reason. Now, on your right would be the Plough pub, followed by the George. We're not going into Trottiscliffe village itself for this story because it sort of pertains to all around Trottiscliffe. In 1745, two villages were attacked by what can only be described as a black supernatural sort of black shuck type of dog. If you don't know what one of those is, it's basically a spectral image of a hound that's meant to sort of encompass a lot of like very dark and demonic sort of entities. And it was reported that one had actually come down from Pilgrim's Way, which is behind us, come down and actually not only killed one of the villagers, but it severely ill-injured another one. So can you imagine at the time in 1745, obviously at the height of when there was witches and folklore and all this stuff, a very, very spiritual sort of time. So you can understand that that story would sort of coincide with it. But the fact that there was actually a report of one person dying and one person severely being injured, you know, whether that was a black shuck itself, a black demon dog, or maybe just like a sort of, basically a wild feral dog that might have just decided that it just wanted to attack some villages. It's a fantastic story nevertheless, and a very unusual one for a village community in Kent, for that to literally have that, especially for the date and period of time when there was literally so much going along with folklore and everything else, and like we said before, witchcraft and everything else. So absolutely fascinating. But like I said, it's a perfect spot to be here because behind us is Pilgrim's Way, which I'm going to talk about on the second part of the video, so stay with me and we'll have a look in a minute. So we're now in the Pilgrim's Way, which is the second part of this second story that we've got. The rumour was that the black shuck, or the black dog, that had gone down into the village and apparently killed one of the villagers and severely injured another, emanated from this part of the Pilgrim's Way. If you don't know what the Pilgrim's Way is, it's a very historical stretch of road. Obviously the clues in the title, pilgrimage to Canterbury. I won't say too much about that because you could easily just sort of get sidetracked, but for the purpose of this video, it was believed that the dog, black shuck, I keep trying to make sure I get both, it was either a black dog or black shuck, which is basically the same thing, emanated from this stretch of Pilgrim's Way, and it went down into Trottiscliffe itself. So in a historical sense, as we spoke before, the interesting part about that is obviously this was around 1745. In that period of time, and even earlier into the 1600s, I mean, pretty much as far as we can sort of date man, we've always been very superstitious, especially in the 1700s, and especially even in the 1600s, probably even more so in the 1600s, and then in the 1700s they sort of honed their craft of their sort of like folk story. It was stories like this, of like black shucks or black dog going down and attacking villagers, wolf-like creatures. It was really the sort of time in which you've got things like witches and a lot of what we would now term as cryptozoology, all these types of incidents sort of happening. And even though we can pretty much date it from like pretty much early man, of like how spiritual we've been and how these types of folk stories have developed through the years, this one was really interesting because it dated to 1745. So like I said, we're on this stretch of Pilgrim's Way, which is where the creature descended from. Because the way I say the word descended is because where we are, Pilgrim's Way stretches right across, and where Trottiscliffe is, we'll show you now, where Trottiscliffe goes down, which you're looking at right now, all across that area, Pilgrim's Way is actually looking down into Trottiscliffe. It stretches all the way across, and in fact, when you go to Cauldron on Barrow, you can actually see the Pilgrim's Way stretching right across that as well. And the Pilgrim's Way itself, I might just do a special video on that, because the whole stretch of Pilgrim's Way has got so many fantastic stories that I'm sure even people out there might share with us on the channel about the Pilgrim's Way and how haunted and magical that place, well, the whole stretch of it is. It's just a fascinating bit of Kent folklore, or Kent lore, should we sort of say, L-O-R-E, not L-A-W, we're not taking it to court. But it's really interesting, and it's a fantastic second story for Trottiscliffe village, and there is really a specific reason why I wanted to do that, because it just encompasses what these Kent folk tales are about, and every single county has them, where they have like reports of dogs coming down and ravaging villages, or like wolves coming down, or people turning into wolves. And this is just a fantastic story that goes with that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Like I said, this isn't going to be a regular thing at the moment, so please don't get too excited. But if you do like these paranormal videos, I can assure you that we will be doing more and more and more at a later date. But the most important thing for all of you out there is you give it a massive thumbs up, you share the video, and you spread the word of the channel. As always, it really means a lot to me, and I'm going to try and do my best to put out as much content throughout the week as possible. Like we said before, the free videos. Monday, your big historical video, your midweek video roughly in Wednesday, and then at the weekend you'd get a historical paranormal type of video, which will either be on a Saturday or Sunday. Okay, so as this video stands at the moment, as you're watching it, this isn't a regular thing at the moment for your third video, but hopefully you're going to be still getting your regular 2 videos at the moment for your weekend. So again, if you like the paranormal stuff, tell me you like it, and I'm going to keep trying my best to keep doing those weekend videos the more time I get. Obviously, the bigger the channel gets, the more time I can invest in doing it, because obviously then I know that everybody's really interested in it. And like I said before, as this plane goes overhead, thank you so much for your support. In the words of Phoenix history, because history matters, and I'll see y'all very soon. Take care for now. Goodbye.